We have some big news right now. Key Democratic Senator Jon Ossoff is doubling down on his calls for the impeachment of Donald Trump. Jon Ossoff says that Trump's actions, quote, exceed virtually any prior standard for impeachment. In a full statement goes, it appears that the president's business and family are being personally enriched through cryptocurrency ventures, and that the president is offering access to people who engage in purchases of his cryptocurrency. So that strikes me as gross misconduct. And when asked whether or not Democrats should pursue impeachment if they win the House of Representatives in 2026, Ossoff said that his conduct exceeds virtually any prior standard for that kind of inquiry in the House, though he said, quote, I can't predict what a future House will do. More and more Democrats seem to be coming around to the idea of potentially impeaching Donald Trump for a third time. There is not complete unanimous appetite for it, however, so we'll see what happens.
Lee says, what's the biggest mistake you think you've made in the first 100 days?
I'll tell you, that's the toughest question I can have because I don't really believe I've made
You
mistakes.
made any mistakes?
We're in a transition period. We're in a transition period.
I think Lee is reassured.
I think you're going to see tremendous economic victories over the next period of a year, like far greater than ever imagined.
If you haven't already heard about it, listen up. Donald Trump has 7 articles of impeachment against him. Democratic House Representative of Michigan says that Donald Trump is unfit to serve as our president and is a clear and present threat to our Constitution and democracy. Some of those articles of impeachment are obstruction of justice, abuse of power, bribery, and corruption. I think we all can agree that Donald Trump has done so many impeachable offenses since he's been in office. It's about time that our Congress stepped up and did something. He's been making money off of his presidency. He's been ignoring federal courts. He's been doing everything necessary to be impeached. But what did you expect? You got a 34-count felon in office.
It's time to speak up. The first senator has now called for Trump's impeachment. Jon Ossoff of Georgia has said that this president has met the threshold for impeachment, and he is calling for his impeachment. We have the first senator stepping up to actually do what we know needs to be done. So now, all of you, call every senator and every representative that you have and tell them we demand them join Senator Ossoff because we all believe that he needs to be impeached. So everybody be aware, use the 5-call app. If you don't have it, get it. It's easy and it will help you get the numbers to go directly to your representative's office. Let's support this. And everybody send a shout out to Jon Ossoff that, we've been waiting for this for months, but, better late than never, buddy. Thanks for stepping up and doing it. And go out there and love your neighbor.
Folks, enough is enough. For the third time in our nation's history, Donald Trump faces articles of impeachment because he's still a clear and present danger to our Constitution. He's abused his power, defied our courts, violated the First Amendment, and sold out our justice system for his own political gain. And he's deporting Americans with no due process and cozying up to billionaires like Elon Musk while stripping power from Congress. That's not leadership, that's tyranny. And let me be clear, silence from Congress is complicity. I'm running for Congress because we must draw the line. If Trump can violate the law with impunity, then democracy dies. It's time to stop being afraid of his base and start standing up for our country. I will not back down and I will not sell out. Let's defend the Constitution. Let's impeach Donald Trump and let's take back our democracy together.
I know you told me you voted for President Trump. What were you hoping that he would do?
I was hoping he would did something that made sense regarding the economy, made some kind of progress in bettering, the benefits of being a veteran. But I mean, it just seemed like he actually cared about doing what was best for the country, but now it just feels like all about me, Donald Trump, not, the guy out there working in the trenches trying to make ends meet, trying to pay a mortgage, trying to pay the bills. It goes against everything I expected when, I voted for him.
So you're not satisfied? with what you said.
No. And it doesn't even have to do with anything about me getting fired. I mean, if I had gotten fired as part of the, government, cutting government spending, I would have been fine with that. I can accept that. But he's not delivering on anything he said he was going to do. So what's your real game plan? It doesn't make sense to me.
There are some things that he promised to do that he has put in place. I mean, there are executive orders that he's done, that he said that he was going to do. You don't feel like he's lived up to those promises?
I mean, where are the results? I mean, seriously, prices are still going up. We're now in the middle of a tariff war with a bunch of countries that used to be our steadfast allies. I mean, how do you make an enemy of Canada? They're right next to us, and they've been one of our premier allies and commerce partners for, I mean, seriously, like what, centuries now?
And he did say that he was going to put tariffs in place. Did you just not think that they would be implemented in this particular way?
I didn't think they were going to be put in play in a juvenile way. I mean, where was the attempt to actually talk to the heads of these other countries like, hey, I feel you have unfair tariffs against our products. I'd like to talk about it first. And if we can't work out some kind of resolution, then I feel to protect our people, we need to implement this kind of tariff. There was no attempt at even talking to the other countries.
Long term, is it okay in the short term to have a recession?
This. Look, everything's okay. What we are, I said, this is a transition period. I think we're going to do fantastically.
Donald Trump deliberately kneecapped the American economy with these ridiculous tariffs, and he keeps calling the pain he's causing you a transition period. Back in the day when Tanya Harding kneecapped Nancy Kerrigan, she didn't say, as Nancy Kerrigan was being carted off to the hospital in pain, "Don't worry, Nancy, you're just having a transition period." The bottom line is that Donald Trump doesn't know what he's doing about anything, including economics. He's functionally illiterate, he's ignorant, he can only read a page or two at a time. Back in the day, he had to pay someone to take his SAT. He has the intellect of a fruit fly loaded up on ketamine, and now he's 78, soon to be 79, in mental decline. Once he had to pay someone to take his SAT, now he'd have to pay someone to take his cognitive test. This supposed transition period is not short-term pain for long-term gain, another phrase people keep saying in the Trump administration. It's just flat-out pain. Isolationism in this interconnected economic world didn't work when it came to Brexit. It's not going to work when it comes to tariffs either. My guess, just a guess, is that all this rhetoric about short-term pain, long-term gain, and transition period will quickly end the second that shelves start to empty and the public goes in an uproar, starts attacking Trump and GOP politicians. Trump will raise the white flag, remove tariffs, and somehow claim victory because, he can never admit defeat. But the damage will be permanent because embedded in the world economy before now was the idea that America was a stable economic sanctuary making sane decisions. With Donald Trump, that idea has gone poof forever.
Tuesday of this week was, of course, Donald Trump's 100th day in office. And after just 100 days, technically before we even hit the 100-day mark, a new survey came out showing that a majority, not a plurality, but a majority of people, more than 50% of likely U.S. voters, say that we want Donald Trump impeached a third time. We're 100 days into this, folks, and most of the country says, I want Trump impeached again. The numbers are 52% of likely voters across the ideological spectrum somewhat or strongly support impeaching Donald Trump. Now, that includes 84% of Democrats, 20% of his fellow Republicans, which is pretty damn high, And of course, 55% of independents. So yes, the high number of Democrats does skew that, but 20% of Republicans, 20% of the people who like definitely voted for this guy 100 days in, and they're like, yeah, Democrats, please save us. Because that's always the rallying cry, right? Oh, we screwed up by picking the worst person ever. They're trashing the economy. They're ignoring court orders. They're breaking the law. Democrats, you gotta save us from ourselves. Here's the thing. Like, 55% of independents, obviously that's horrible for the Republican Party. 20% of Republicans is somehow even worse for the Republican Party. But I will say, 100 days in, 20% of Republicans want him impeached. That's actually a positive. Okay, yeah, you guys, you're asking Democrats, of course, to bail you out again, as you always do. But at least you're already there. At least you understand, yeah, we made a mistake. Yes, this is bad. So I do applaud you, right? I know I'm kind of mocking you and saying that whatever, but at the same time, like, I am proud of you. It only took 100 days. Last time, it basically took 4 full years for everybody to be like, okay, yeah, I guess he's bad. Now we're 100 days in and 20% of Republicans are like, get him out of office now. I love it. And here's a little interesting tidbit. Support for impeachment today is now on par with the levels seen during the 2 most recent impeachment proceedings, even before a full public case has been presented. So the public, the majority of them, they don't even know what they want him impeached for, but they want him impeached. And these are the same levels we saw during his first 2 impeachments. But again, hold your horses, everybody. We don't have the numbers. Obviously, Republicans control both the House and the Senate, so even in the House, the articles of impeachment that have been introduced this week are going to go nowhere. So, bit of a fruitless effort. You know, it's kind of all for show. To be honest, I hate to, downplay it. I hate to be that guy, but it's for show. Majority of the public wants it, so you're giving the public what they want. You're just kind of not telling them that, yeah, there's no chance this is going to happen. Now, after the midterms, maybe. Obviously, I think the Democrats could retake the House and they could easily impeach him there, but impeaching him in the House, that's small potatoes. You got to have the numbers in the Senate. You have to be able to remove him from office. And of course, the high crime is the fact he is directly defying a court order. That is illegal. So you got the crime. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying impeachment is not warranted, because it is. You have the crime. You have the means to do it. You just don't have the numbers yet. But if you get the House in the midterms and then get a majority in the Senate, and assuming that 18 months from now the damage Trump has caused is only going to escalate and become worse, then you might be able to get enough Senate Republicans to say, you know what, let's get him out of here before it destroys our chances for 2028. So there is a path forward. We just can't get on that path unless we make the right decisions.
Wow! Did you just see Donald Trump talking? And he's saying, oh, well, maybe kids won't be able to have 30 dolls. They'll just be able to have 3. And yeah, maybe stuff won't be loaded up in ships anymore. And yeah, you might have to spend a little bit more money, but who cares? Yeah, that is the president of the United States saying, I don't care. I don't care if you're not going to have a ton of toys. Kids can settle for 2 or 3. Prices going up? I don't care. It was staggering. It was nothing like the whole thing heading up to the election of, I'm going to do this, I'm going to bring down... It was none of that. It was just, you're going to suffer and I don't care. Yeah, you can watch it yourself. It is absolutely stunning. As a matter of fact, watch it yourself and then come back here and let me know what you think, because wow.
Wow. I just watched some of the Trump rally in Michigan. Holy smokes, man. I don't know how, but somehow or other this man figures out a way to pack an arena full of people that have zero critical thinking skills, none for themselves. It's official. We are now at the bottom of the barrel of Trump supporters. This was basically his old stump speech, like what he was using during the election. But the only difference is we're 100 days into his presidency. So we have something to hold him accountable to. I mean, he's destroyed the stock market and our economy is not going in the right direction. Every economist is basically saying we're looking at a massive recession, possibly a depression. And he still can get up there and say, like, we're bringing back all the jobs that Biden, like, it's insane. And they're up there and they're clapping like, you know, trained seals, and they're doing their thing, wearing the MAGA hats and all that stuff. They're all made in China. I don't know how, but he managed to tell them that inflation is over and that he's got his arms around inflation, and we've already brought back prices that are getting better every day, and that bringing back jobs and manufacturing and all this stuff. The man has absolutely no relationship with facts or the truth, and he's not interested in having one. But he has that in common with his audience because they don't seem to care. But at the end of the day, it all comes out in the wash. Like, these people are going to end up spending so much more in taxes, in grocery bills, and all that other stuff. I like what Amazon's about to do if they stand their ground, which is like, I love the idea that when you check out on your Amazon cart, there will be a line item right next to where your tax is that says, this is what you're paying in taxes, this is what you're paying in tariffs. I like that. I wish that every retailer would do it. I would love to go to a supermarket and I would like to see on my receipt, here's what I'm paying in taxes and here's what I'm paying in tariffs. Makes all the sense in the world. I want to know where my money's going. But Trump's press secretary, whatever that woman's name is, I can't think of at the moment, that horrible shrew of a woman. But anyway, she called it a hostile act by Amazon. It's a hostile act for Amazon to tell you where your money's going. And I get it. They're not doing this out of the goodness of their heart. They're doing this because they don't want you to blame them for the high prices. Whatever, I'll take what we can get. But yeah, no, not one brain cell in the entire arena. Go watch some clips. You'll see.
Judging from the first 100 days of Donald Trump, I just knew this was bound to happen. The impeachment stories and articles, I was seeing some of them like coming in like week in, week out. Like you could see like tracing, like if you just search Trump impeachment, you would see articles coming up, and it's all justified by the the events of the last 2 months. It has been crazy. Do I think it's gonna happen? Meh. Maybe 50-50. In the course of the 4 years, do you think it would be serious? Yes, I do think, especially if it does not redeem himself in the next 3 months. He needs to do something to get himself out of that mess. This impeachment cause could be serious anytime soon, because I have seen protests, like for example the May 1st or May Day protest, whatever, going on in the country. And do you think it would come a time where it would be full-blown or overblown, like to a point it won't be controlled, and Trump needs to see that. Anyways guys, let me know what you think about this whole thing. Do you think he's gonna get impeached? Do you think he deserves to be impeached? Share your thoughts in the comment section down there below. Let me meet you in the next one. Peace.